Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thanks for holding this hearing. I just want to, maybe I'll start with you, Professor Luther, and just see if I can figure out what the baseline here is. We've now learned today, it's been said over and over by our Democrat colleagues, that Judge Boseberg can't be held to account. He did nothing wrong because he had no idea whose records he was issuing subpoenas for. And he didn't inquire, he didn't ask, he just signed it, as Senator Cruz was just saying. That is despite 2 U.S.C. section 6628C. So is that just how it works, that it's fine, the judge can just, whatever DOJ says, he doesn't need to inquire, separation of powers concerns, he doesn't need to ask about it. It doesn't matter, he can just sign it.
That's certainly not how it's supposed to be, but based on the evidence that's publicly disclosed, that seems to be the best evidence of what happened.
And is that how non-disclosure orders work as well, that you can get a non-disclosure order against specific individuals, not to notify specific individuals, if there's some suggestion that somewhere someone in the universe might disclose or tamper with evidence somehow in some way? Is that how a specific non-disclosure order works? I've never heard of such a thing, but maybe I just missed it.
That's the point where Smith's team should have told Judge Boseberg, these are senators, and there are different obligations under the law for how we treat them.
I've never heard of a non-disclosure order. I was the Attorney General of my state. We sought these things in the past. I've never heard of one where you said, well, actually, we can't offer you any evidence that any of the people targeted in the order would actually tamper, but somebody out there somewhere might, maybe, take our word for it, sign the order, and he does it anyway. I mean, let me just say it this way. Does this actually exonerate Judge Boseberg? I mean, does this make it better? My Democrat colleagues have offered this as, oh, he's just doing his job. Does this make it better or make it worse?
No, I think what has shifted from maybe a month ago when this broke for the first time is it's not so much that Judge Boseberg is being intentionally, it's not intentional, it's more negligent. And that's I think, the situation.
It's grossly negligent, but I'll just say this. Here's my bigger issue, is that there's a pattern here with what happened in the last 4 years, where every time it comes to hold somebody accountable for something that happened to real people, there's always an excuse as to why it can't be done. And senators, sure, whatever, but let's talk about the individual private American citizens who had SWAT teams sent to their homes in the early morning hours to take them into custody for protesting peacefully, saying prayers outside of an abortion clinic. I'm thinking about Mark Houck and his family. An FBI SWAT team came to his home, armed, a SWAT team, took him into custody, dragged him off. He was later acquitted, by the way, by a jury for any wrongdoing. We had the anti-terrorism division of the FBI activated against parents who went to school board meetings and asked about their children wearing masks at these meetings. The anti-terrorism division. We had the FBI recruiting informants, that's spies, into Catholic parishes in this country, making a list of churches that the FBI, or at least the Richmond field office, had serious security concerns about, singling them out for disfavorable treatment. As far as I know, nobody associated with anything I have just mentioned has been disciplined in any way. In any way. So maybe you think, I don't care about the senators, they get what's coming to them, fine. What about individual private citizens who are just exercising their constitutional rights? What about parents who are just going to school board meetings? What about parishioners who are coming to church in a church of their choice in the United States of America and have their own government recruiting informants into the church? It is a gross pattern of abuse of law that went on for 4 years in this country like I have never seen or read about in the history of this country. And nobody, to my knowledge, nobody has been held accountable. And now we're told today, well, you sure as heck can't do it for this judge or any other judge, and you can't touch anybody who went after these parents or went after these parishioners. Nope, you just move on. What is it that one of my colleagues said a minute ago? This is just a show. This is just a show. No, actually, it's not a show. All of these things happened. This is not a game. People's rights were violated. People of faith were targeted in extreme ways, and nobody's been held accountable for it. And I don't recognize this country or our Constitution in those practices. And if this is allowed to go on, we won't have either of those things in the future. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.